Hey there, NFL fans. If you're like me, you are just giddy that the NFL season and training camp are finally just around the corner, and you probably can't get enough NFL coverage. If so, you have come to the right place. We're going to keep you covered on everything around the NFL from now until the end of time. So if you haven't already, hit that big red button and subscribe today. We begin with a truly timeless story this NFL offseason. Clowney, what's going to happen there? Well, Titans GM John Robinson came out and said the team may or may not have had conversations with Clowney in the past week, which vague just enough to drive everyone crazy, but I suspect means they actually probably did have conversations with Clowney. And I will make note, by paying Derrick Henry and getting him off the franchise tag, that actually frees up cap space for Tennessee if they want to try and get a deal done with Clowney, who, of course, has been asking for just a little bit too much money when it comes to his upcoming contract. Now, the issue for Clowney is that, he's completely misjudged his market, has not handled that very well at all. And potential destinations have dried up very quickly for Clowney. These are the latest betting odds on the top spots. There are two obvious contenders, the two favorites, if you will. Tennessee at plus 200, Seattle at plus 250. Then the Raiders, the Colts, and the Lions. And those are some pretty decent long shots right there to actually land Clowney. Tennessee makes a lot of sense for Clowney. They are a good team coming off a playoff spot that fits what Clowney has publicly said he wants to have. And they could use a player of his caliber. I love Jeffrey Simmons. I like Jones. Jack Crawford, he's okay. If you can put Clowney on that team, let him line up as almost that J.J. Watt 5 technique type of player. Still, of course, let him get after the passer, but he's a great run stopper. He fits well for what Tennessee could want to do and will want to do on defense. I like the fit for Clowney if he can figure out what the proper price tag is for his services, and, of course, if Tennessee is willing to match that. So as of right now, I'm going to put Tennessee as the favorite. They're going to be my guess for this question. Where will Clowney sign? I want you guys to scroll down to the pinned comment and make your best guess right there. We've asked it quite a few times. It's changed quite a few times. But if you get the ad break here, well, now's the perfect time to go down and make your best guess. Let's go over now to the Seattle Seahawks, where the Antonio Brown, Josh Gordon rumors continue to percolate. Now, ESPN reporting today, the Seahawks are actively exploring adding Antonio Brown, and that Russell Wilson wants to get him on the team. They are concerned about off-the-field issues still. That remains a problem for AB and for the Seahawks, which is an understandable thing. There's a potential suspension, and things remain not cleared up yet. As a result, nothing is close to happening right now. ESPN also reports that there is mutual interest in a potential reunion between Josh Gordon and between the Seattle Seahawks. Gordon, as of yet, hasn't been reinstated by the NFL, but he does benefit from having familiarity with the team, which matters in what's going to be a shortened and different type of preseason camp setup, all of that. Now, over the past 4 seasons, well, AB's been great. Now, he missed, of course, most of last year, really brought down the averages. Josh Gordon is unfortunately seemingly always suspended, so no surprise there. Antonio Brown's the better player. I'd also argue he is a bigger risk based on what we saw last year when things did not go according to plan whatsoever, and frankly, it was a true disaster. So Seahawks fans, pick a receiver for me. Which would you rather sign? If you want to sign Antonio Brown, type AB in the comments section. If you'd rather sign Josh Gordon, type JG. I think Seattle could use a receiver pretty much regardless here because I love Lockett. I love Metcalf. That's a really good, promising, and talented and young 1-2 punch. Dorsett, Moore, Freddie Swain, that's not really going to get it done. Yes, they like to run the football, but also let Russ cook. Let him throw the football around. You make Dorsett your 4th receiver. You bring in Gordon. You bring in Antonio Brown instead. That's an upgrade. And that's super intriguing for a Seahawks team that remains truly in the middle of a potential contention window and a potential Super Bowl window because, Russell Wilson continues to be awesome. Now, the NFL has just released some of their new Sideline Hats this summer. They are all available at chatsports.com/sideline hat. I love the Seahawks version. I like the green. I like the blue. It just works for me. But for all 32 teams, they have different variations, different colors. It's all right there. I will put that link for you guys in the comments and in the description. So all you guys have to do is click it, find your favorite team, and get the cool-looking hat that you guys want. That's chatsports.com/sideline hat. More wide receiver discussion here today. This time around, A.J. Green, who signed his nearly $18 million franchise tag tender today. Now, Green said today that he wants to play 4 more years and then retire as a Cincinnati Bengal, which, yeah, that's a good plan, right? And end your career as one of the greatest players in franchise history. The issue is for Green and the Bengals, well, can he actually play 4 more years? He hasn't been healthy. The injuries have consistently popped up, and it's been a major problem for Green and a major problem for the Bengals offense. Now, Green said he wasn't going to hold out. That's been made clear by him signing his tender. But now it becomes getting through this season healthy and then figuring out what the contract looks like for the 2020 season, or 2021 season, after the 2020 year. He's going to be in his mid-30s at that point. Bengals are in a tough spot. Should they re-sign him? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Green wants to be there, but he also wants to get paid. The Bengals lowballed Andrew Whitworth, and that was a disaster for the organization. If I'm the Bengals, yeah, he's not the best player ever at this point in his career, but he can be my Larry Fitzgerald. I'm going to keep him and keep him around my organization and my young, promising quarterback in Joe Burrow. The Chicago Bears, meanwhile, have a great receiver as well. One Allen Robinson, who I would argue one of the most underrated players in the NFL. Robinson has said, though, very recently, that he and his agent haven't heard from the Bears about a contract extension. Oh, okay. Entering the last year of his deal, did you guys see what Robinson did with Trubisky and Daniel at quarterback last year? 98 catches, well over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. Allen Robinson has had the likes of Trubisky and Daniel and Blake Bortles as his quarterback, and he continues to be one of the best receivers in the NFL. When they're borderline quarterback proof, I pay those receivers because that means they're really, really good and they make my life easier on offense. So I'm not saying you got to pay Allen Robinson more than Julio Jones. He'll probably ask for around maybe a little bit more than Amari Cooper money. And I know that's expensive. And I know the Bears often wait until just before the start of the season to get long-term deals done, but I would prioritize him. I think he's the best player on the offense. I would get him done. And at minimum, by the way, I'm going to tag him. There's zero way I let Allen Robinson actually hit free agency next offseason. But Bears fans, I want to hear what you guys have to say. What would you do with Allen Robinson? You're in charge. Are you going to pay him? Are you going to let him walk? Type P for pay, W for let walk. Or would you just tag him to make sure he doesn't go anywhere? Type T for tag for me in the comments section. Now, our friends over at Fanatics also have some of these awesome player-themed face masks. Khalil Mack, for example, for the Chicago Bears. They got Patrick Mahomes for the Kansas City Chiefs. A bunch of big-time players. Wilson. They are all available at chatsports.com/player-mask. That's chatsports.com/player-mask. I'll put that link in the comments, in the description as well. That way you can go figure out which one you want and get it ordered as soon as possible. Speaking of masks, NFLPA head DeMaurice Smith made it very clear today on his call with players and media. Wear a mask if you want the season to happen. Now, so far, everything is on schedule, at least within reason here. Teams are starting to send out reporting dates for players and first-year guys and all of that. Team doctors told the union today it's safe to start training camp with a few reservations about doing so, but it's going to happen. So for now, everything is moving as scheduled. But as we'll discuss in a little bit, there are some concerns about the salary cap impacts. Before we get to that, though, I do want to discuss Justin Simmons, who I believe, much like Allen Robinson, one of the best and more underrated players in the NFL. He isn't that happy. He and the Broncos were unable to get a long-term deal done before the franchise tag window. The report out of Denver is that the Broncos offered Simmons, top 6, maybe top 5 money, somewhere in there. Simmons coming off an incredible season. Truly one of the best young safeties in the NFL, which we've said several times, there are a lot of good safeties in the NFL. Now, the 6th highest safety makes about $11.5 million, which is pretty much what Justin Simmons' franchise tag is going to make this year. Earl Thomas makes under 14. If I'm Justin Simmons, I'm asking for around Eddie Jackson money because he's a really good young safety too. And actually, if I were Denver, I would have done that because here's what I know about the NFL free agency market. The next guy, he always gets paid more. So when Jamal Adams gets paid, when Derwin James gets paid, when Minkah Fitzpatrick gets paid, even if I made Simmons the highest paid safety in the NFL, he'd be that way for like maybe a year. And then the next guy replaces him. And in the long run, they actually save money. So did the Broncos make a mistake by not paying Simmons even what might have been $14.7 million per year? Type 1 for yes or type 2 for no. I also do want to get into the salary cap impact here because the reality the NFL is facing is they're going to lose money this year. There's no way they're not going to. And if the revenue goes down, the salary cap goes down as well. But the NFL and the NFLPA, they will negotiate how to handle the salary cap. It is a negotiated process, not so much one decides. The NFL's offer right now is let's do $40 million in salary cap and benefits reductions. The NFLPA, well, they want a flat cap next year. Because what absolutely cannot happen for NFL teams, not even the owners or the players, the teams, they cannot face a $50 to $70 million cap reduction next year. Because even if the cap stays flat at about $198 million, call it $200 for easy money, there are teams already well above the salary cap next year. If the cap drops to $150 million next year with that $50 million reduction, Philly's $100 million over the cap. They can't afford that to happen. The Saints can't afford that. Now, the salary cap is easily able to be manipulated, but not at like half the cost. Like that part, you can't do it quite that much. So the organizations, the teams, they should want the flat cap as well, because all it's going to result in is the players end up having to get cut. They lose out on money. The teams aren't as good as they're accustomed to because they had to cut all these key players. That is something the NFL and the NFLPA cannot have happen because some teams more than others are really, really going to be penalized, such as the Eagles, the Saints, Falcons, Chiefs, and so on.